All right, so we're back now, thanks. As you can see, I had to change the bowl. I didn't calculate that right. Next, we're gonna add to this dry mixture some beautiful Botticelli olive oil. You can use whatever kind of olive oil you want. I like the flavor that Botticelli imparts. It's a very good Italian olive oil. So I'm gonna use probably for this much breadcrumb, we're gonna use about a half a cup. And then we're gonna see what the consistency is. You want it to be, you don't want it to be wet. You want it to be kind of like a moist, not quite, I don't want to say a cookie batter. It doesn't need to be that thick, but you need to be able to manipulate it a little bit, and that way it's going to stick inside. It's going to stick inside the leaves. Now my producer's trying to tell me something. You could talk out loud.
You want the consistency of wet sand.
Ah, there you go. See, I needed my son, the genius, to tell me. Wet sand. All right, I'm gonna add just a little bit more. In the background, we've got the Italian version of the Beatles playing on the Italian house party. You never know what they're gonna play. Me, I like sticking with the classics. Vic Damone, Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, you know, all the greats from my mom's childhood. And that would have been my grandparents' music, but my mom would have had to listen to it. Kind of like I had to listen to her music. Anyway, once you have it, the consistency you want, I'm gonna feel it. You see how that kind of almost holds together lightly? You can see, lightly holds together. I'm gonna call that ready. Give me a second. And we're gonna wash our ends, like my father-in-law used to say. God rest Patsy. This is for you, baby. You gotta wash your ends. They always had a funny way of speaking where they would cut an H off where you needed one. They would say, oh, you gotta go get an haircut, or you gotta say hello to your uncle. I always got a kick out of it. So this is for you, my mom, and anybody else, my dad. I'm gonna dedicate this today to all my family who has gone before me, but left me and my family with some fantastic memories and great teaching and tools for life, not only in the kitchen, but for life in general. So anyway, we're gonna take the artichoke. Now everybody can do it a little bit different. This is the way I do it. You can do it however you want. I like to put it right in there, and I make sure that every single leaf, Stevie, if you can come over here and get a good shot of this, you'll see this is not a simple task, because you really want to be liberal with the stuffing, so that any bite that person takes is going to have flavor. I know my brother-in-law Ricky, he told me, either you or Linda has to make the artichokes, and you know the way to make them. So Ricky and I grew up in almost the same type of household with the same type of cooking. And that was basic, Neapolitan, kind of peasant cooking. This stuff was not fancy. This was just real food. Okay? Now you can go to restaurants today in New York, San Francisco, LA, New Haven, Connecticut, that are some of the best restaurants around, 3-4 stars, Michelin rated or whatever. And they're gonna sell you stuff that I grew up on as a kid that cost pennies. Pennies to make. My mom, my grandmother, they could have fed a whole family for about $5. And it would have been delicious, it would have been satisfying, and it would have been nutritious. Stuff like pasta fagioli. In Italian, pasta e fagioli. Just pasta and beans. And you could have it two ways. White, without tomato sauce, or red. I prefer the red. But things like that you'll find today on menus that cost $8 to $12 a bowl. $8 to $12, I could have fed the whole family. So it's funny how things have turned, and peasant food has all of a sudden become haute couture for cuisine. I'm gonna ask my son to spin around to this side a little bit so you can see a little bit better the stuffing of the choke. I'm gonna start from the outside to make sure, once again, that every bite from the first to the last is tasty. And once again, this recipe is so easy. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and email me at smbelly, SMBELLI at Comcast.net. You can friend me on Facebook at Stephen Belly. Don't forget, there's two of us. There's my son. I'm the one that's about 6 foot tall. He's the one that's about 6'2" and looks much more handsome and younger than I do. But together we make a great team in the kitchen. My son has also adopted my love of cooking. Not so much Gabriella, my daughter, although beautiful as she is. She tends to gravitate more towards the baking aspect of food. So anyway, that's it for right now. I'm going to continue to stuff these and not bore you with any more jibber jabber. The next step is going to be, I'm just going to show you how we cook them. I'm going to put them in their little nest of a steam bath, and we're going to let them go for about 3 or 4 hours. So we'll be back. Don't go away. Once again, this is Uncle Steve Belly, your Italian connection in the kitchen, bringing you today Palm Sunday stuffed artichokes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.